Kris, you don't want to let people in yet? So funny. Here it is. Hey, Kris, do you want me to let people in?
Oh, yes. I was just walking around the house, just.
I just wasn't sure. Sometimes, you know, you don't want to let them in right away, but.
Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine.
We're good.
I think most of these are returning teachers anyway, so.
Oh, good.
They are. So there's going to be a few newbies in there. They told me they were coming back.
Is this the same session?
Yes, exact same one. So I've got everything
good
this time. It worked out good the last time, about
it was
6.
Great. Even though we had that little glitch in the beginning, it was still great.
Yeah, and I used it as a teachable moment. This is
exactly.
how we do things.
Exactly right.
And then when I didn't have the thing loaded up because they were asking other questions that I didn't anticipate, I said, this is what you don't do.
So I just went to Stephanie's. Hers was really good.
Stephanie, I'm sorry. The one that I wanted to watch all week was Tanya's, and it was at both times with mine.
Was the same, yeah, because Tanya's is going on right now.
I know, it's the one I wanted to attend.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna run to the restroom. I'll be right back.
Yeah, you take your time. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello.
Hi, Kris.
Hi, Kathy. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Can you quickly remind me how to get to Canvas without going to the ProxU? Should I go to ProxU and go to Canvas?
No. ProxU is where you do your training. Canvas is www.proxlearn.com.
Okay, thank you.
I'm putting in some things in the chat box as you come in. Basically, I just want you, most of you in here are returning teachers. There's a checklist. I did send it out earlier to the faculty, but the link is right here in the chat box. As people come in, I'll just keep re-putting it in. There's also a checklist. We'll start in about, oh, Maria's back. Good.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So if you want to, while we're waiting, if you want to open up Canvas and go to your sandbox, if you do not have a sandbox course, you can make one. Most of the teachers here, returning teachers, have one. There might be one or two new teachers in this particular session. We'll start in 1 minute. 1 minute. And then after that, Maria, you can let them in, please, after that.
Yep.
So in the chat box is a link if you have not done your sandbox, but I think most of you have. And there's also a checklist. I did send it out earlier today if you want it.
I also uploaded it to your page, Kris.
Thank you. Thank
Your
you.
training page.
Thanks. All right, Maria, so go ahead and take over the admit box.
Got it.
All right, everybody, welcome, welcome. We made it to Wednesday, woohoo! For those of you that are new and may not know me, I'm Kris Wedington. This year, I'm gonna be doing a lot of training. I am one of the vice principals. The other girls that are the vice principals, you're on one of their colored teams. They're gonna be observing you and everything else. But should you need help with anything, like always, a certain class, a TA, need to know how to do something, come to me. I have a tile in PLI Central. Remember that PLI Central is the centralized location where we're going to put information. Those of you that are East Baton Rouge or Milwaukee teachers and had me last year, you know we had our little tile in there. Mine says training and help and that kind of thing. When you go in there, you'll see my office hours. You just show up, okay? If you need to meet at a different time, especially once we get going with classes, you just let me know. You know you can always email or text me, okay? For the new teachers, PLI Connect is in Canvas right next to your sandbox course, okay? PLI Central, I'm sorry. All right. So today we're doing a gradebook lab. Lab means hands-on. This is an interactive step-by-step instruction. So if you haven't done so already, log into Canvas at www.proxlearn.com. Log in with your ProxLearn email and your password, and you can just sit back and watch. The first part of this, I'm just going to talk for a few minutes, and I'm going to show you some slides. Then I'm going to change up my screen, and I'm actually going to do it live and have you follow along with me. Now, the reason that we're doing this is a couple of things. Last year, when school started, how many of you remember we were trying to load up those grade books and they just wouldn't load because of all those unpublished assignments? And we found out that last summer, Canvas had made some changes. And the default was to try to load all these unpublished assignments. So we had to go in and take them out. And as we went through the year and added semesters and marking periods, some of you didn't have the grade book set up properly. And so the grades were kind of skewed. And what happened in May and June when we were finally trying to close out after all the craziness of the spring, some of you found out, uh-oh, I have never ever set up my grade book properly, and it wasn't. So all year long, some of those grades actually weren't right. So it takes 30 seconds, literally 30 seconds to do this. But it's something we must do because when you get your classes, the school district or the school itself has decided they want 40% for tests, 20% for unit exams, 10% for homework, whatever they want. That comes to the CSS this year. Now in PLI Connect, when you go to pick a class, it'll tell you, it'll somewhere in there at some point in time, whether right there or once you've accepted the class, the CSS will send you information about the class. and that weight about how it's supposed to be divvied out will be there. Now, what's supposed to happen in a perfect world is the CSS says, oh, this is Duncanville, Texas. They want it set up like this. The CSS will set it up and send it out, send that updated part to you. But there's still a couple things that you must do, okay? And one of them is to set it up, uncheck the unpublished, and of course, check your weights. So we're going to talk about that right now, okay? So just sit back. If your sandbox course is no longer in there, in the chat box, I have put a link to getting a sandbox course, okay? If you're a returning teacher, you can probably click courses and go back to an old course from last year. This is just to kind of follow along. I know now nothing's perfect in the sandbox course because they're empty. But for those teachers that are new or those teachers that just didn't do this last year, at least I'll walk you through it. So for the next 5 or 6 minutes, just sit back and listen and watch. Then we're going to do it again, but then we're going to do it step by step, and I'm going to walk you through it. Okay? All right. So the first thing you want to do is when you get a class, you're going to go in, accept your class, click on the gradebook. Now, if you remember, these steps were in Canvas 1.0. You had to do it. It's very short. There's one or two pages in there. So this is what we're doing, okay? We need you to click on grades, okay? Open the gradebook, and then we need to set it up under view. And again, you don't have to do anything right now. Just sit back and watch, and then I'll walk you through it step by step again. You click on view, and remember last year we had to come down and uncheck the unpublished. This year over the summer, we did some things like take all those extra Spanish assignments out, and some other math and science things were updated. So a lot of those assignments aren't in there to cloud up the problem, okay? But you have to uncheck the unpublished, just like my picture here. I always suggest that you use the notes. I check the notes. What might you want to write in the notes? It's whatever you want to write. No one but you sees it, okay? So things like death in family, out for 1 week. In hospital, gone for 2 weeks. If the kid's name is Thomas Jason Smith and he hates being called Thomas, he wants to be called TJ, you know, anything you want to write in that note column is for you. If the kid's disruptive and you're keeping track of what they did, you can do that too. It's just a place to put notes, okay? So that's why I always use the notes column. Then we have to come up here to filters, and we have to add, okay, check the grading periods and the modules. And this is where we had problems last year. Everything was good until October, when you had your first segment or your first marking period. Everything was good until then. But then people didn't have this checked. And so things just weren't looking right. And when you thought it was looking right, it wasn't weighing things out right either. You want to click modules so that you make sure that you're seeing, and in the grade book, that it's adding in all the assignments, not just culture assignments, not just projects, not just tests. So you want to click this. So far we've got unpublish the assignments, do the notes column, filters, check these two, okay? And then you won't have it in the sandbox course, but when you get your real courses, you should have either semesters like this one, spring and fall, or you should have semesters like semester 1, semester 2, semester 3, and sometimes they'll be loaded up all at once. Other times they'll have semesters loaded up like through October 31st, but the second semester is not there yet, okay? But at least you'll see one semester. And again, you won't see this probably in the sandbox course, okay? Now, what comes next? And again, just sit back, and this is all for your viewing pleasure. You're going to arrange. If you don't do this, it actually just puts it in there whatever way it feels like. I always do oldest to newest. Some teachers do newest to oldest. You can put it in any way you want, okay? In Spanish, our assignments are numbered, so that's why I do oldest to newest. 1.01, 1.02, 1.03, 1.04, and so on, okay? Then, you want to take a look. We're going to take a look and make sure that not only do we have the right categories that our CSS told us about, but we're going to make sure that it adds up to 100%. 75 and 15 is 90, and another 10 is 100. So this grade book is set up per that example that we were using. There's the imported column. You never want assignments in the imported column because they're not counted, see? 0%. But when you go to bring something in, when you import something, and now it's called the direct share. If you make something, a worksheet or something in your sandbox, and you copy it to your 5 other classes, those 5 classes, it's going to find its home in the imported. You have to go in, edit it, and put it where it belongs in its category, okay? And again, your district, that the CSS will make sure that you know what the categories are and load them up ahead of time. That's what's supposed to happen. The foreign language people, remember, we have interpersonal, presentational, interpretive, culture, right? We have 4. This example is for something else, all right? But you get the picture. Now, one of the things that I put in the chat box, and I believe it's still there, but just in case somebody came in, I'll put it in again, is a checklist. Now, I'm going to show you the checklist. You don't need to write it. You can have a copy of your own. This was actually in Canvas 1.0, and in the chat box right now is a link to this. Use your ProxLearn email. I also sent it to the faculty earlier today, and Maria said she loaded it up in PLI Central under my training tile. So here's the same assignments that we just talked about, okay? Same things. These are the things that you have to do. So I've given you a checklist that you can print out and use over and over and over again, because you need to do this for each class that you get, okay? All right, one last thing here. And you remember that the total column, it's always at the way end of the gradebook. One of the things I do is move it up here. So in a perfect world, if this were my real class, I would see the student name, I would see the current average, which is all the work they've done so far. I have a notes column, and yes, I do use it. Here's my 3 categories as decided by the district before this class was even loaded up. And some of you will or will not have an imported category, depending on if you're the kind of people that import things, okay? Or make all kinds of things. All right, so what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna share my screen, and we're gonna walk through it together. I'm gonna bring up my practice class here. Now I'm going to start right from the beginning. I have a little practice class. You've got your sandbox class. Some of you that are returning, you may want to play in one of your old classes, but the new people don't have any old classes, okay? Now, not every single thing is going to work here, okay? So the first thing you do, you just got your class from your CSS, you have accepted the class, you log in, you're on the home page, let's go. We're gonna set the grades. Click on grades and let it load up. Okay. The first thing you're going to do after it loads up is you're going to go to view. And you're going to make it look just like mine does. You're going to uncheck the unpublished. It may already be unchecked. Okay? Because maybe you did it already in the Canvas training. But I just want you to see it again. And then check the notes column.
Kris, it wasn't. Mine was not. I unclicked it.
Okay, that's fine. Some are, some aren't. Okay? And it all depends on who's been playing in their, their sandbox. But it should look like this, no matter who you are, whether you're returning, whether you're new. Uncheck the unpublished and check the notes column. Now, we're going to go up to the filters and we're going to make sure that we have checked assignment groups and modules. Now, there may not be there in the sandbox course for new people because it's an empty course, okay? If it's not there for you and you're new, it's because it's just a sandbox course. It will be there for your real classes.
Yeah, Kris,
Yeah?
I'm in my sandbox course, and when I go up to filters, all I see is modules. I don't see anything else.
Okay, then click modules.
Okay.
Yep. In a real course, you'll have both of them. Right now, as you can see, I had a couple people comment. One person had modules, but not assignment groups. Somebody else has both. Somebody else has neither. It will be there when you have a real class. All right.
How about student groups? Should I check it out? Mark it?
No, leave it alone. The only two you are checking is what you see. Assignment groups and modules.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Then you're going to go up to arrange by. And like I said, most teachers do oldest to newest. There are some that prefer newest to oldest. Totally up to you. Now, once you've done that, scroll all the way to the end. Scroll all the way to the end and you'll see the word total. You see the word total. There's 3 little dots right here. Click them and move the total column to the front. Now, your gradebook is set up. There's one last thing you have to do. Scroll to the end, all the way to the end. And you will see your categories. In my example here, now you may not have any. I'm not sure how they have it in the sandbox course. It might be just assignments and participation, might just be assignments.
Yeah, it's just assignments in my sandbox.
That's fine. Then it should be 100%. Okay, if it's 1. Otherwise, if you have 2, 3 or more, they should equal 100%. In my example here, 75 plus 15 is 90 plus 10 is 100. Okay? And my imported assignments is 0. The imported assignments should always be 0 if you have a column there at all. And you should never have a grade in imported assignments. If you do, it means it needs to be moved out of there and put where it belongs. Now, I do want to tell all of you, whether it's core or world languages, especially the returning teachers, sometimes This was a problem last year. Either you had to make sure each assignment was in the proper category, or some of you didn't even bother moving them around. During the summer, somebody went through each and every single course and they put them in a category. So when you get your class, it should be in the right category. So if it's a test, it should be in the test category. If it's a project, it should be in the project category, or whatever it is that you're doing. Yep.
I have a question. On mine, I have all of the practice stuff from training and assignments, and none of them have weights. How do I fix that?
Right, because you didn't set that up. There's a couple of things you can do. You can come to this gear wheel. Now, first of all, what you would do is, in fact, I'm gonna qualify that and say, if the weights aren't correct, I'm gonna change my mind. If the weights aren't correct, stop. You don't do anything. You contact your CSS. Okay? There is a way to change the weights, but you can imagine what'll happen if somebody starts changing weights. So the best thing to do, what we decided to do this year, since when you get a real class, it'll be all set up. All you have to do is simply check, does it add up to 100? And whatever my CSS sent me, I'll look and it says I should have participation 75, pre and post diagnostic test 15, participation 10. If that's what it says, and that's what it says in my grade book, they're equal, I'm good. If it doesn't, stop. Contact your CSS. But like I said, we have gone through every single master, whether it's math, chemistry, 6th grade, science, doesn't matter. Somebody went through every course this summer. So it should be right. Now, I'm just going to scroll back. Now, you can see my grade book is set up. And it literally, while I walked you through it over the last 23 minutes, it literally takes less than 30 seconds. Click view, uncheck the unpublished, check the notes, click filters, check assignment groups, check modules, arrange by, oldest to newest. Go to the end, move my total column up, and do some math and make sure that your groups equal 100%. Boom, done. You do this for every single class once at the beginning of the year. Now you're set up and good to go. Okay? Now, what you see, test students, there's no names here, they're just called test student. You can see the total column. You can see the first kid has a 95.56, the second kid has a 94.73. I gave an example of what I might write in my notes column. Okay, no one sees that but you. Now, I'm going to stop there. Are there any questions on anything before I move forward? Because some people asked some questions at the early session, and so I figure those questions were good, and I'm going to move on to something else. But to clarify, you have the checklist. It was in the chat box, printed out. It is also in Canvas 1.0. If you, for some reason, you don't have it, I sent it earlier to the faculty. Open it up with your Proxlearn email. And if it still don't have it, then email me and I'll make sure you get it.
Kris?
Yes?
Default order for me is checked kind of on. Should I keep it or should I check it off? Default order.
You check it off and click due date, oldest to newest.
Okay.
Hey, Kris, I have a quick question. I am on my sandbox and I follow the checklist and I just don't have any grades.
You don't. No, you won't. You just don't. Right now,
Okay.
there's nothing for you to do.
Okay.
Eventually it'll look like this. It'll be a grid and there'll be names and all that kind of stuff in there. Okay. Basically,
Thank you.
yeah. All right. So for the new teachers and for the returning teachers, couple of things. Remember that the gradebook defaults to percentage or to points. If you want to make a percentage, for example, obviously 36 points out of 36 points is 100%, right? There's these three little dots right here. If you want to do percentages, you can change it. And you can see what happened in the first column. Okay?
Yeah, one of my schools, Chris, preferred that the gradebook showed percentage.
Correct. So should you get one of those schools, or if you have the little kids, because you know first graders don't get 36 points out of 36 points, you might want to do this. I also think I've heard people with special education, it's too much for the kids to see. I got 20%. No, you got 20 out of 20. That's 100. And you know, the kids get all mixed up. So again, within the title box of the assignment in the gradebook, you can go up here to these three dots, okay? Enter grade as, and it can either be points or percentage. It defaults to points. One of the other things you can do is sort. You can sort your grades, okay? So if I want to sort them low to high, okay, let me just do that again. Oh, here, I'm going to give this kid a 0, okay? I'm going to give this kid 65%. Here, I'll just change the grades. Okay, so if I want to sort, so I've got a big class and I want to see who needs to redo something. And, oh, that's a test student. All right, so it's 0, okay? Now, 0's at the top, so I know that that first student, Johnny, has a 0. Okay, and then I can maybe email Johnny right here. You want to let them know if you want to send a message, goes out through Canvas. Click the three dots, message students who, and you have a couple of choices. Message students who haven't submitted yet, haven't been graded, scored less than, scored more than. You'll notice at the top, it says message students for Unit 2, Lesson 1. Tells them exactly what assignment it is. All right. So if I said scored less than, let's say they got less than 50%. Only one kid did. Okay. Dear students, please redo this assignment for more credit. Mrs. W. And then I can just hit it and send, and it goes to the kids within the inbox that's in Canvas. Okay. Now, if a kid hasn't done anything, we'll come over to this one right here. You can see that the one child hasn't turned anything in. The one kid's got an 18, the one kid's got a 20, the one kid's got a 19, and maybe you want to message who hasn't submitted yet, or, and I can also do, I can sort, okay, by missing, okay, I can do that too. And I see that it's missing here, all right? And so remember that you can, within each one of these, you can email. Now, this came up earlier. I'm going to take these two grades out right here. Okay, so it's the end of the week. It's the end of the week, and you're doing your grades. Sorry about that, I clicked off of it.
Chris, real quick, when you email more than one student, when they get the message, are they going to see that you emailed? Okay, just that one student is going to see it. Okay.
Yeah, within Canvas, the inbox feature sends it blindly. Okay, so it's the end of the week. I'm going to come over here to this Algebra 1 for 20 points that nobody's done. It's the end of the week. I'm doing my grading, and I'm like, okay, time to put my zeros in. Now, I can certainly just click in a box and put a 0 in, and I can scan and do this kind of thing, okay? 0, enter, 0, enter, 0, enter, 0, enter. The other thing you can do is set the default grade. And you can put in a 0 or any grade for all of them. And look what happens. It'll say 4 students' scores updated. And there they are. Right here. Put the zeros in. So they didn't do it. So let's just say, for argument's sake, that these students, okay, let's just say that these students came after school and they did the work with you, but they didn't do it in the computer. They did it out loud. They did it out loud, and all 4 of them, all of them, got a great grade on it. So you want to go back in, and you could certainly just go in and manually type in 20, enter, 20, enter. The other thing you can do is come up to the default grade again, give them the 20 points, and overwrite the already entered grade. 5 students are updated, and there they are, the 20s. So it's just a way to grade. There are many ways to grade. You can grade in the Gradebook, you can grade in Speed Grader, you can grade assignments separately, all kinds of things. Now, when you're doing your participation grades at the end of the week, I tend to just put mine in, 10, enter, 8, enter, whatever. But maybe everybody in the whole class has got 8 points for the week. You decided nobody was going to get 10. They're all going to get 8 this week. Or maybe they all are going to get 10. You can go in and set it instead of, if you got 37 kids in the class, doing it 37 times. Okay? So I'm going to stop there. Any questions? So
Yes,
this
to set the default grade, would you mainly use that maybe for like paper assignments?
No, I would use it only when I'm grading a bulk group of assignments and I'm going to give everybody the same grade. Like I'm going to put in a bunch of zeros. Okay?
Or if they all just got credit, something like that, right?
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right. So again, the gradebook itself, you have to set up. And we set it up using the, I'm going to stop sharing here for a second. Using these directions, which I put in the chat box earlier and which is in PLI Central now under my tile. I would print this out, keep it handy, so you know exactly what to do. Because if you do it 6 or 8 or 9 times next week or the week after in August, and then you don't do it again until like October and you get another class, you'll go, oh God, what was I supposed to do? Keep it handy. Remember, I told you guys, there's my bulletin board. That's where I would tack it, right there, so I could find it when I needed it. Okay?
And Chris, one
Yep.
thing I sometimes, like when I was, if you don't date them, they will not show up in the grade book. If you
That's
don't
right.
due date your assignments.
That's right. This year, you have to go and date. You have to date the assignments always. I'm going to go back to the home page. I'm going to share again. And as long as you're asking about it, I will bring it up. I'm going to go back to the home page here with this particular course. Now, in the past, as you remembered, you either had to go assignment by assignment and put it in, but this year we have something new. You go to assignments, you go up here, let it load, you go up here to edit assignment dates. Let it load. And there you go. The assignments will show up in order. Now, I want to point out again, French, German, Spanish, all have numbered their assignments and modules numbered. I've suggested to many math and science teachers, and social studies too, for that matter, go into your modules and instead of calling it Algebra 2 pre-assessment A1, A2, give the darn thing a number. If it's module 1, 101, 1.01, 1.02, 1.03. If it's module 3, 3.01, 3.02, 3.03, and it'll show up nice and neatly here. And you don't have to look and go, oh, what is that? What is that? Look at this title, Unit 2, Lesson 1. Then it's got all this code. Identify key features of polynomial graphs. Upload paper assignment here. Can you imagine what's easier to say? Johnny, please identify the key features of polynomial graphs and upload your assignment here for Unit 2, Lesson 1. Or is it easier to say, Johnny, get 2.01 done by Friday, right? And so you come in here and you do your grades. You do your dates. So I'm just going to click here on the 25th, and you can just see I'm just clicking away here. And maybe this one I want due on the 2nd, and you can see it changing right in front of you this year. Click, 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 and it's done. Okay? And a word to the wise, do not use the available from and available until. More teachers have more problems touching that. It makes sense. You want it available from a certain time and day, and you want it available to a certain time of day. But once you do that, you get a new kid in the class, or COVID-19 runs around again, and they want you reviewing things, and you've got to go back and unchange every single one of those. If you have to lock something down, lock it with a password. Don't use the available from and available until, or use it sparingly, because there was a lot of problems. I get this all the time. The kids can't see it. It's at the end of the year. We're doing tests, the final exams, and maybe the test was on Monday or Tuesday. Well, now it's Friday, and you cut the exam off, available until Monday or Wednesday morning. Well, it's Friday morning, and Johnny was in the hospital. He needs to take it. You got to come back and do it manually. So leave the available from and available until alone. Okay. And then, of course, once you're done changing all your dates, and you don't have to change them all, you can just do the ones you need, you save. And it will automatically put it in the modules and the gradebook. And you can see it says saved. All right. So do I have any other questions on anything about the gradebook?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a good time. I know it's a new feature this year. When you're actually grading an assignment, you had mentioned, I know at the end of last year, about the comment feature, how you can do that. Could you go over that again?
Actually, it was the professional development we had a couple hours back. Maria, what was the one? Oh God, it was Stephanie Eaton, wasn't it? There was the Vivaldi browser, and it's the notes feature.
No, but that's cutting edge, I think.
Cutting edge.
Right. No, but that's not what I thought it was in Canvas, that it was a new feature. So instead of having to say, excellent effort 50 times, you could.
No, it was uploading Canvas in the Vivaldi browser.
Okay, I thought, okay.
Instead of Firefox or Explorer.
Oh, okay.
So if you guys missed that,
No, I've got that. But.
yes, it was earlier in the day. And what was it called again, Maria?
The cutting edge, I believe.
Cutting
edge, yes.
Mm-hmm.
The very first part of it, she does a lot of, like Padlet and all that stuff. It's actually at the very end. It's the last 10 or 15 minutes. She starts talking about the Vivaldi browser, and she'll talk about tabs first. But then at the very end, she talks about notes. Actually, Shelly and Shauna and I are going to work on getting a PowerPoint where it's just about those notes. Because what you're going to do, basically, instead of using Firefox, Safari, Explorer, you're going to download the Vivaldi browser. And just like using Firefox or any of the others, you open it up and you're going to log into Canvas there. And that browser has these cute little features. So when you are in an assignment, let's say you're in assignment 1.01, you can click the plus sign, add a note, okay? And I would title it 1.01. And then you might have a 1.01 video. Once you do it once, it's there for posterity. So for example, assignment 1.01 might be a math assignment, and it's the order of operations, PEMDAS, right? And you know there's a whole explanation about PEMDAS. You don't want to, every time a kid screws that up, you don't want to have to type out the whole thing again. So you might want to make a worksheet, use a PowerPoint, or even do a video like I'm doing right now and say PEMDAS, parentheses first, exponents, whatever. You record it once for the first kid. Call it 1.01 video, 1.01 handout, 1.01 good job, anything you want to call it. But it'll always be there, 1.01. And then when you'll know where to find it because you're in your class in 1.01. And when you finally get to module 4 or module 6, module 7, it's the same thing. If it's assignment 7.06, then you just title it and it's there. And it never goes away as long as you log in with Vivaldi as opposed to Firefox or Explorer or any of the others. But again, if you want to see it, I know it's the last few minutes of her session. And I am also, as soon as things settle down here this week with all the training, that is the first thing I am going to do is make a PowerPoint and send it out to everybody so that they know how to do it with step-by-step instructions, like click here. Okay?
Kris, I'm sorry to interrupt. I think I know what Paula was talking about. I remember, not recently, but like last year, that we're supposed to, it's a good idea to give the feedback, but there was a way to have a collection of good job, different types of comments and a way to find them and put them instead of typing it every time. I remember something in Canvas.
It was Canvas, but Canvas being opened up in a different browser.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Because Canvas, I have Canvas open right now. You all do too. There's no place to save it unless you're going to put it in a Word doc or put it someplace, right? Or you use some of these other apps like Keep, and there's some other techie things if you're really tech savvy. But if you open up the Vivaldi browser, it'll be there. That's what it was. Evernote is another one, yes. And Joy, you'll probably remember Opera Notes. Opera Notes was the prelude to Evernote and Vivaldi. Opera Notes, I don't think it works anymore. All right, how about some other questions?
Kris, I have a quick question. Can we clear all grades in bulk in edit assignments?
Clear all, in other words, you want to take all the dates out?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. How
But
do
there
we?
there shouldn't be any when you get your master class.
Okay.
Okay. I hear somebody's kitty.
Yeah, it's mine.
You see me looking around going,
No, it's mine. It's mine.
no, it's okay. I have two that try to get in the office all the time. And that's why I'm going like this, like, where to go?
That happened to some of my math classes last year for some reason. So I had to use the calendar feature to
that's no.
dates.
All right. So do that this year. You must.
It's nice to have this new feature.
Yes, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. All right. But the main thing is you have to set up this gradebook. So again, you have the directions, print them out. You have to do it once when you get to class. Okay. Once it's done, it's done. But last year, I got to tell you, it was all seasoned teachers that have been here 2-3 years, right to the end, May and June. We were spending hours on one class trying to get those grades right because the grade book wasn't set up right all year. Yep. So we have to make, and we can't just do it for you. It has, because there's defaults from Canvas and everybody's something different, right? So we can only go so far setting it up, and that last step you've got to do. So.
Hi everyone, it was me. I'm reading your comments. I set up stickers for my students when I grade their papers. What I did was I went through and I clipped a bunch of good job or awesome work or try again. And what I did was I saved them, I downloaded them and I saved them. So when I'm grading their papers, you can attach them as a sticker and the kids get a sticker.
That's right, with stickers. You know, it would be nice to have the directions for that, you know, step 1, 2.
That's great.
Yeah, I'd like to know.
I love that, Tamara.
And so I did that as a way of, you know, just a praising them. And so they really loved it. They got excited when they saw, like, I had one that was awesome job and it was glittery and it was
collect all 10. Well, do you have directions, or can you write them up step by step for somebody that's done?
I tell you what, I will write them up and I'll pass them on to you, Miss Kris. I'll do that because
pass them on, and I'll put them on my tile in PLI Central.
All right, I'll share with you all. It's really wonderful. The kids love it. Even my big kids, they would get excited. And you know what? They would send a thank you back.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? We'll learn to do it. And we'll do all the designer colors. How's that? I'll tell you what, if you send me the directions, I'll see if I can follow the directions. Maybe I'll do a recording and just post it for everybody, like a, you know, like you don't have enough to do, right?
Okay, I'll do that. I'll work on that. That'll be my next week's project, and I'll send it to you so we can get it out for everybody. But it's a really cute thing, and the kids, you know, even if they didn't pass, I would say I had a sticker that said, "Oh, please try again." Yeah. You know, or good try.
Yeah, I remember that now. I do remember. All right, let's try that. All right, but anyway, so, you know, we're finishing up here. You've made it through Wednesday. Just to remind you all, whether you're new or returning, if you haven't turned in your Zoom video, please do it, okay? We will get to them later today. We've been training all day. We were caught up at 9:30 this morning, and then I'd say there's probably a dozen more in the queue right now. Remember that you have to have Canvas 1.0, just Canvas done, Zoom done, PLI Connect done. You need 3 certificates that you load up into Talent Ed. That alerts HR that you are good to go with all your training, and then, and only then, will you be able to see any classes that are coming up. Okay?
Kris?
Yep.
I have a question.
Sure.
I'm sorry for interrupting. Are you going to send us your PowerPoint?
This isn't a PowerPoint. I just, what I did send, it was in the chat box, was the links to here it is right here. I'll put it in the chat box again. There it is. The checklist, which is right behind me.
Yeah, but this will be in ProxU, the video of this.
Yes, the video part of it will be. The video will be in ProxU tomorrow, probably.
Yeah.
Kris, one more question on, we heard in another session that this year the TAs will be have the ability to edit any of the student rosters.
Sure.
And so when we see something, because often it happens, you know, that the names get turned around, and that's, you know, it's problematic. So I'm really excited about that. That we won't have to wait and submit requests and go through
No, they can do it. In the past, if they said, drop these 5 kids from the class, they're not here anymore, you just sent off an email or did a live chat with tech support. Now they can do it. And they're being trained, just like you've gone through all this training, they're being trained on TA things, okay?
Yeah, so that's a great step forward. That's great.
Yes, yes. Well, we're getting bigger now. It's time, you know, it's just time. All right, any other questions? We've only got, just a few more minutes. And then after this is your VP teams, your meeting by color, your red team, yellow team, whatever. Meet your group. That's your vice principal that's going to be observing you this year and working with you. And of course, you can always come to me if you have a question or a problem too. All right. All right. Late work policy can be your own unless the district requires a certain one. That is correct. You should have one in your mind, but you have to find out what the district is. Remember, you are working for the district. You're used to being in a brick and mortar where the kids come to you. Okay, the kids are going somewhere else and you're going somewhere else. Okay, so you have to do what the school says, even if you don't agree with it. Even if you don't agree with it. There are some schools that want to give, if the kid, no zeros, the kids get 40 or 50%, drives me nuts. Okay, but it's what I have to do. All right. And when the time comes, if you have specific questions about things like that, come on to me or your CSS and we'll work it out. Okay. All right. You can either go if you're all done. If you have other questions, fine. Otherwise, and here comes my cat. Come on. Here's my kitten. This is a kitten.
Look at here.
This is Lionel, the Lionel kid.
How old is your cat?
Just 10 months. Look at him.
Oh, wow.
He's mama's boy.
Question. I have a question, please. Parents are now able to, I don't know how that evolved, but they can sign on. Does that include the gradebook? What exactly will a parent have access to? And I think it's really great.
They've always had that.
Okay.
Parents have
always know that because no one has ever asked or, yeah.
No.
Yeah, but they can't, even if they get their own login, they would not be able to see the grades because of the FERPA policies.
Only their own child's grade.
Well, only if they log in with theirs, but they can't even see their own child's grades if they have their own login, believe it or not.
Oh,
that's how protected they are.
Cannot.
They cannot if they have their own login. Now, if, you know, like when my son was in college, I was like, give me your login so I can see your grades, or I'm not paying for college. So, you know, you can threaten your kid to give your login. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not paying for zeros. But even in high school or middle school, it's the same thing. The kids are protected. So unless the parent goes to the kid and says, I want your login, you know, yeah.
But as far as like observations, without asking permission or anything, we were told they can just appear. And, you know, we may not know who they are with another name or anything. So it seems a bit odd, although I understand at the elementary level, the need, but at a high school, secondary level, I'm not.
I don't, yeah.
Is that true? They just can come in to your
I
classroom?
don't know about that.
No.
But they said don't let them in the
Don't
participants. Only let your children in. They said that if they try to enter.
Oh.
No, well, I'll clarify that via email. We were told that in a session today. That was a new policy, and just to be prepared for that.
And what can they see though? You know, what can they have access
to? They can see like assignments that are due,
right.
Tests coming up, like just general information that they would be able to see if they went on the teacher website, if she had one, you know, or if he had one. You know, but they would not be able to see now this is with their own login, which I think they can get to also, but no, yeah. But if they want to see everything, they're gonna have to log in with their kids, you know, with their kids login. Threatening works.
Okay. All right, everybody.
Sorry.
We have to go because I have to vacate the room for the next, but
yeah. All right, bye guys.
All right.
Bye. Thank you.
See you, yellow team.
Thank you, Kris, for all.
Thank you, Maria. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.